At first I wasn't sure if I wanted to make this video, because it's quite a controversial subject, but the audience's reaction to Barbenheimer has been quite, well, baffling, so to speak. I have seen both movies, Oppenheimer with my dad, Barbie with a girl, because if you don't watch it with a girl you don't have the full experience. That was a joke. Don't freak out, guys. But I wanted to take a moment here and talk about why I liked both of those movies. And let's start off with the most controversial one, because, you know, obviously I like Oppenheimer since I'm a Christopher Nolan fan, so that's too obvious to start with. So let's start with Barbie instead. Going into Barbie, the person I went with told me that it was going to be a very feminist movie. That's what she heard. So I was preparing myself, but I still had certain hopes. Now, what were those kind of hopes going into the movie? I hoped that Ken and Barbie would be similar to the Ken and Barbie in Toy Story 3, because I loved them in Toy Story 3. It was hilarious, and that's what I wanted. Just a bit of comedy in between the characters. And yeah, I got that, pretty much. Then another hope I had was that it's not going to be like She-Hulk, because what She-Hulk did is it would just write characters that didn't make sense, like
There's a hot chick over there, I'm gonna go talk to it.
yeah, no one in the world talks like that. No guy does that. What I really liked about Barbie, to be fair, is the fact that they took some time, like the 1910s, where women didn't have many rights, and then they just reversed the roles pretty realistically, where now the men are in second place and dismissed and can't work, which in the end they address is the wrong thing to do. It's quite the bare minimum, but they make male characters actual people, which is, you know, impressive if you compare it to something like She-Hulk.
There's a hot chick over there, I'm gonna go talk to it.
Ken isn't just an asshole because he's an asshole. In the beginning, he's not even an asshole. He's just simping for Barbie. But then, at a certain point, he becomes the antagonist, but he has his reasons. And he's not an asshole for nothing. He's just emotionally hurt, and that's why he's acting the way he is. So the message is not fuck men, praise women. The message is we need to do a little bit more before women and men are truly equal. And yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a great political message. And another message that I liked is fuck the I'm not a native English speaker. Patriarchy. That one scene where Ken talks to a businessman about the patriarchy is so funny to me, where the businessman tells Ken, yeah, we still have a patriarchy, we're just better at hiding it. That line is very funny, because as far as I know, that is how things are going in the US. So I didn't have any problems. I didn't feel offended. I wasn't a crying little white boy when I got out of the theater. I actually loved the I am Kenough message. That's something that men need to hear. And that's something that would not have happened if Ryan Gosling was not playing Ken, because he sent a message to Greta Gerwig with Ken lying in the mud, and because of that message they fleshed out Ken a bit better, and now Ken is an actual character, and in the end you have a perfect line of him screaming while he slides down a slide, "Ken is me!" And that's beautiful, because a lot of people don't feel like they are anything without their partner. And now Ken discovers that, well, he is. He is his own person, and he's Kenough. And that's a beautiful message. And as far as the message goes for Barbie, I'm not a woman, so I can't relate to it that much. So, yeah, honestly, there is bits of pieces for everyone in there. But if you are truly sexist, you're not going to enjoy the movie, which is the reactions I read from people. Reading messages like that made me lose brain cells. Especially the ones where people would say that Barbie was pushing an LBGT agenda, which it was really not. It like there's just men and women in there who were like struggling with their own problems, and that's pretty much it. So that confuses me. Where are people seeing that message? It's not in there. Like, you are seeing what you want to see so you can shit on the movie. And that's the problem with people's reactions to Barbie. I'd say Barbie is a great film. It's not made for me, that I recognize. It's made for like younger women who are in their teenage years, I think. And it does great at that. I would give this movie an 8.5 for what it is. There's only one thing I didn't really like, and that's the part where Ryan Gosling's Ken and Margot Robbie's Barbie get into the real world skating, and people are looking at them. which makes Ken have more confidence and Barbie less. This is kind of weird because I feel very intimidated when everyone's looking at me. I don't feel confident at all, not even if people are looking at me because I'm looking good. But hey, I didn't mind it too much. I'm Just Ken was amazing, Crazy Barbie was amazing, Alan was really funny. I didn't mind the movie, and if you did, okay. Now, the reactions to Barbie is not something I have too many issues with, because it is very clearly a movie made for certain audiences, and so is Oppenheimer. Except people didn't know if they were the audience because they don't look at the director. Homie, if you've never seen Interstellar, if you've never seen Inception, if you've never seen Tenet or The Dark Knight, or you didn't like either of those movies, you should not go to see Oppenheimer. It's that simple. It's Christopher Nolan, his storytelling is slow, it's cautious, and it's not for everybody. If you expected to see bam, 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 ha, World War II, shoot, 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 punch, punch, her, ooga booga, then obviously you're not going to like this movie. It reminds me of 2019 when Joker came out and people were disappointed by that because it wasn't action-packed enough or something. It was a mental thriller instead of being a complete action movie, what we are used to in the Batman universe. But that's what I wanted out of a Joker movie, personally. But people just expect everything to be a Marvel movie nowadays. So Oppenheimer didn't land for everybody. To me, I thought it was a beautiful movie. It was very subjective. I felt really in touch with Oppenheimer, which is, I think, the goal. The score and the filmography were beautiful. It really made you feel fascinated about the quantum realm and atoms and such, even if you don't have any understanding of it, which I don't. I literally skipped chemistry and other science-related subjects because, well, it wasn't for me, and I still understood what was going on here. And yeah, the first half was a bit more boring, but that's Christopher Nolan, once again, and it makes you feel a little bit more attached because you were living the life with Oppenheimer. This also has to do with, obviously, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels, where people's attention span is just not good enough for that. People can't even watch documentaries anymore, let alone a long movie that's pretty documentary-like about a guy inventing something. Also, I think it's funny how this movie also criticizes the patriarchy in a way. It also criticizes the way capitalism is formed back in the day, but also nowadays. And personally, I really enjoyed that part too. And I really think the hearing that they had in the end added something to Oppenheimer's character. It really finished the movie. I didn't think the movie was perfect. There were certainly moments where I was like, okay, well, can we hurry along now? I recognize where people are coming from, but if you expected an action movie, you just don't look at directors and you should start doing that. But it's pretty much near perfect for me, so I would give this movie a 9.1. To me, the Barbenheimer era was beautiful. I think this is a historical moment in cinema. Two movies who are so different, yet so similar in some ways, coming out at the same time, both being amazing movies for my part, with amazing casts and overall just amazing feels. And of course, I liked Oppenheimer a bit better. You know, Oppenheimer is more targeted towards people like me who consume stories and get invested. And Barbie is more directed towards younger girls who are struggling in their journey towards becoming a woman. No one asked you to like either of those movies. No one asked you to go express your feelings for the movies. No one asked me to express my feelings for the movie. But here I am anyway. This audience reaction really disappoints me because people do not understand messaging of movies nowadays, it seems. If you did like either of those movies, tell me all about it in the comments. And also, here's a few recommendations. If you haven't seen Interstellar, go watch it. If you haven't seen Tenet, go watch it. As for the Barbie likers, well, I'm sorry, I don't know any similar movies that I personally like, but you're also free to tell me whatever you thought of the movie. And yeah, Oppenheimer gets a 9.1. Barbie an 8.5. Those are very high grades, so I feel like their messaging has been constructed properly. For the record, if you get controversial in the comments, I will just hide you for everyone's sake, since yeah, it's quite a touchy subject for people, so be nice. Anyway, if you like this, subscribe and like. And also, this might be the last time I am going to discuss movies on my channel, since it is quite controversial every single time. So who knows? Who knows, I might stop, I might not. Anyways, see you later.